Hey y'all, it's your girl Sia, and I'm back with another video. Y'all, really quick, I don't want to get into the interview. I don't want to get into anything on TV outside of my perspective. And the reason why I do that is to prevent the same argument from happening. I don't like talking about the same things. And I don't like having to touch on the same argument that I feel like is very mute, right? I mean, not mute, but it's an argument that's already been had and people have already talked about it. So I just really want to give my own perspective on what this man said versus the reality of things and whether or not Simone Biles really is a prize or not. Now, I'm going to say this off the rip. Women like a Simone Biles, I don't know that the quality, again, you're dealing with a woman who's a world champion, right? So everybody really knows who she is. Even I know who she is, and I don't necessarily um I don't keep up with sports that much. If I'm not mistaken, I could be totally wrong. Well, never mind. I don't want to give who I think it is because I believe the girl who smoked weed versus her, they're two different people, right? And I'm almost certain, if I'm not mistaken, Simone Biles, they recently had, I don't know how recent it was, so forgive me, but if I'm not mistaken, this is the same girl that was caught up in some sort of legal situation with other women that were in similar positions as her, right? And when I look at Simone Biles, and again, I bear with me, you guys. I apologize that I don't know exactly what these girls do because I'm not into sports. So it wouldn't matter unless I looked up like a picture and then did a little bit of research on what they do. But I'm almost certain the marijuana girl is different than this chick. And I remember following because I remember the entire, like, there was a whole court case that played out and I can't remember what that was necessarily. I do believe it was some level of SA stuff, right? But nevertheless, I think that's her. I'm pretty sure I got the right girl. I could be wrong. Because I think the other girl's like Shakari or something. It's some other name. But Simone Biles never gave me the impression of like this hood chick, right? She strikes me as a very intelligent, maybe a little bit timid, a little bit quiet. I don't want to say timid. Timid's the wrong word, but maybe just like more of an introvert, I guess. And again, she's this real, like, in my mind, my perception of her is that she's like a really good girl, like not a goody two shoes, a good girl though, right? And I say good girl in terms of wholesome. Like she comes from a wholesome background. I could be totally wrong, but this is the impression that I get from this young woman. Like it wouldn't matter if she was in gymnastics or if she was in like just college and working towards her degree. I feel like she gives that persona of a well-spoken, carries herself well, maybe a little bit quiet, like the Asian girls, right? Real quiet, right? Black girl. And believe it or not, they exist more often than not. Like, again, it just depends on what circles you're in. But Simone Biles to me appears to come from like she's the how can I explain it? She's just a good girl. I don't know how else to explain it. Like me and Simone Biles probably could get along with our mentalities and how we're raised and all those different things, right? But of course, she's well known, and that's partly not just because of her skill set, but obviously, if I'm not mistaken, I could have sworn this is the same girl. She just went through, they just had a big old lawsuit. Like this thing was like a big deal, right? And so for this man to come in and say, and this is what I've said time and time again, women have to be wary of the type of times we're in, right? and be aware of the kinds of conversations that are being had and what men are actually saying. Because if the story is true, I don't know the man. I don't know the husband. I've never known him. I don't know who he is. I don't know him to be talked about very much. Like, I really have never really seen his face. And I'm not the only person to say that, which means that he's not really somebody the way a Simone Biles is somebody. And let me be very clear. Biles, if this is the same black girl that I'm thinking about, because I've seen her picture, I know who she is. Um, she appeals to a different audience. That's what people have to understand. You're dealing with a black woman that is not just appealing to the black audience. She appeals to all types of nationalities around the world, right? Whereas this man, right, is just, I don't know. I seen Green Bay Packer, I think, on his jersey. I really don't know who the guy is. I don't know him from a can of paint. So my assumption is that he's only marketed to a certain group of people, right? Meaning that the majority of the world has no idea who this man is, right? And if they do know of him, they kind of gloss over his name. They may speak it, maybe, but it's not like he's like a what is his name? LeBron James. I was about to say something else, y'all. So from the outside looking in, this is just like the Keke Palmer situation. First off, Keke Palmer had no business being with her baby daddy. Okay. That look didn't even match. Okay. And that is the problem. I don't know what's going on with black women, but I'm trying to tell y'all something. If I was a Keke Palmer wealthy, there's no freaking way I would look in the direction of her baby daddy. I don't even know how the baby daddy got to be the baby daddy of Keke Palmer. Like, let me keep it a buck. And that really has nothing to do with Keke Palmer now. It has everything to do with the Keke Palmer brand. When you're looking at it, the baby daddy situation just don't even fucking make sense, right? And those are one of those things that just help you to understand, like, oh, she's human, just like me. But realistically, it took my respect level just down a notch a bit, because I'm not even understanding how a woman of that stature, right, would even look twice that man's way. We all know they're not the same. They're not even equal on the same playing field at all. It's obvious. This is a very similar situation. When I look at Simone Biles and I look at her husband, okay, y'all are married, cool. You know, again, if that's your choice, then cool. But they don't look like they fit to me. You know what I mean? It's like when you see married couples and you see them, you're like, oh, okay, they fit. You know, when couples just, it don't look right. The aesthetic doesn't look right. The image doesn't really look right. I pictured a Simone Biles, to be honest with you, more with a white man than I did any. The husband looks dusty. And I don't mean that to just say it lightly, but he don't look like Simone Biles level. You know what I mean? It's not, I don't know if it's the beard, the half struggle beard. Like, I don't know what that is, but it's something about that guy where it's like, to me, they don't look the part. She looks like money and he don't. They only look like money when they come together, right? Because it's her money, 9 times out of 10, right? So for this man to sit on somebody's couch talking about he the prize, no the fuck he not. Maybe in his world he's the prize, right? Because you got to understand something. He's speaking from his perspective based upon his own personal reality. Meaning that as the kind of girl that I am, I wouldn't have been chasing this man. You have to understand which men you should be chasing and well, first of all, I wouldn't be chasing this man. I don't even know if it's a thing. I don't know. I don't know what I just said about which men you should be chasing and which men you should not. But this ain't the kind of man you should chase. If anything, the girl that doesn't give him the attention is going to be more attractive to him than some girl that's chasing him, which tells you, and you can tell because of the cockiness and the level of arrogance that he had when he sat there and said, I'm the fucking prize. What? As a black woman, as a woman who is growing and evolving and becoming more, financially stable and all of these things, I'm not interested in no man that can fix his mouth to say he is the prize. We're not having those kinds of conversations, sir, because last time I checked, you were interested in me. I'm not the girl that goes out and be hitting on men. If anything, men hit on me. So to get my attention and to keep my attention, I'm the prize, not you. I'm just, maybe you're a prize after I get to know you and after years of knowing you, right? Because that shit ain't happening overnight. I'm the prize. Yes, you got a level of value, but that's your own self-worth. But I'll be damned if I stay around with a man that tries to convince me that somehow he's the prize when he had to convince me to be with him. Get the fuck out of here. But see, her situation is a little different. And I will never understand this thought process because I'm not in it. I will never be in that thought process. The idea of chasing a man, the idea of proposing to a man, and a man sitting on the goddamn couch thinking that shit's cute. Like, that's actually very feminine to me. If you got a woman that's proposing to you, and you could vocalize that on television, and you could sit in your confidence or arrogance. That's really what it is. It's not confidence, it's arrogance. And talk about I'm the prize. What? Like, to me, that's gay. Oh, excuse my language. But that's what women do when they get married. Like, that's some gay shit. I don't know how a man is, sorry, gay people, because this really ain't about y'all, but this is about the context of what it was said. I'm not looking at no man as a man when he telling me his girl proposed and that he's the prize. Huh? You just turned all any if there was any level of attraction at all, you just turned it all the way off, and that shit can never be turned back on. So I don't know if that's really a good look. I don't know. I mean, obviously you live in a society where men are like supporting shit like this. But I almost have to think, don't the men know that's a little fruity? That's a little suspect. When a man can boldly say, like, yeah, my girl proposed to me, she chased after me, I'm the prize. What? Like, like, I'm sorry. I couldn't have done that interview without cracking up. I'd have been in there dying. I couldn't do it. I'd have been looking at him like, do you hear yourself? I wouldn't have argued with the man. I wouldn't even felt the need to tell him, but I would have been clowning on his ass. Just because that's not really like, that don't give me a masculine image. That gives me more of a feminine image. Naturally putting that woman in the masculine role. Now, if he was to break up with her, the first thing he gonna say is, oh, she was too masculine. She was too masculine for me. Guaranteed. Because of the type of man he is. He just said who he is. He said it. Like, there's no way. Like, men, y'all need to understand something. I don't care how much your goal is to humble a woman, put a woman in her place, disrespect a woman, whatever the fuck be going on through y'all's heads. Y'all be shooting yourselves in the foot by doing shit like that because other women are watching. And so while y'all are complaining that you can never find a real good woman like that, there are a ton of good women out there. I ain't gonna deny it. I believe it. The problem though is a good woman wouldn't look twice your way. Now, if she's a woman who is more like Simone Biles, and I wouldn't say Simone Biles is not a good woman. That is not my space to say. What I'm saying is, however, it is her responsibility as a grown ass woman to know her goddamn value and her worth. And have we all been there before? Of course. However, if you on national television defending and on social media defending your, excuse me, your husband, then you deserve every bit of what you get. That's crazy to me. There's no way my husband, see, this is why I'm not married. Excuse me, this is why I'm single, right? Because I couldn't, there's no way a man could say, well, I'm the prize. I'm the prize. And think like I'm not going to look at you like a female. Because that's what women do. I'm a woman. I know what other women do. I know what women do because I'm that. So when you tell me that, oh, well, she chased after me, like that's, and really, I'm not even looking at her because women with low self-esteem are going to do what the fuck they want to do, right? I've learned that this day and age, you cannot correct women. Women just going to have to go through the bullshit and figure it out on their own. If they never figure it out, hey, I got a friend that died from abuse, okay, and the abuse of alcohol, as she utilized it to medicate for the abuse that she was going through, right? This young girl, she's young too, she didn't die last year. So I know firsthand what it can do to somebody. And it's sad to me that this woman of this stature, and when I say stature, I'm really looking at the financial aspect of it. There's no fucking way I would be willing to give half a percentage or anything of what I've worked so hard for to a man that talks like that. There's no way. Cause I'm sorry, honey. I'm a multi-millionaire, right? Not me personally, but if I was a multi-millionaire, I'm very choosy about the types of men that I would entertain. And even then, I would be, as I'm getting more wiser in my life, right? I'm realizing that the more money I have, I may not even want to be married. That's the honest to God truth, because I'm definitely doing a prenup. I said that from today, from whenever I said it on. So the prenup is a must. It's not even a question, right? It's not even a question for me. But the wiser, I say the older, the wiser I get, I'm beginning to realize maybe men are just, maybe it's like a cat. It's like a ball of yarn. Play with you when I want to play with you, and I kick you out and don't talk to you until I do what I want to do. And if I want to do a man, then I do a man. If I don't want to do a man, I won't be doing a man. Like, I don't know that my life really, like I said, the more money I see myself making, the less likely I see myself getting married. And that's only because I really ain't found, like, I've never met a husband. Right. So I can't base my life based upon, well, what if? Realistically, in my head, the more money I have, the hotter I become, the more I'm realizing, oh, well, maybe you're just good for play, right? I'm gonna be like Madam, what is that girl? All the King's Men. Like, I just play with men as I see it. They ain't taking me serious, no way, right? So I might as well just play to play. So that's where I'm at in my life, and that's where I've been leaning more towards. Again, is marriage something that I would want? If the right person comes along, of course, but it's gotta be the right person. And if I'm making 200 grand, for example, a year, um, you damn right I can be choosy about who the fuck I deal with. So you can bet your bottom dollar I'm not dealing with no man talking about he the prize. That ain't even an option. Like I said, any of that kind of Kevin Samuels type of rhetoric in a man's vocabulary is a red flag. And my followers, let me be clear. I felt like there are a lot of men, when we talk about resources, right? And women are beginning to talk about how men utilize women for resources. Understand that your likes page, your social media presence, all of that ties into your connections. So you have to be mindful of these men. Now, Is the man rich? I don't know who he is really. So I don't know. I'm sure I could Google it. If he's got some sort of contract, he ain't broke. But the winner, and everybody know, the prize in this situation is the girl who don't see herself as the prize, apparently. She see him as a prize. So you're only as good as you see yourself. So I could see you as a prize, but ultimately she don't see herself as one because she's not holding him to the standard of being one, right? So, that's just my take on it. People are only as good as they see themselves, meaning that how can you expect me to love you if you don't love yourself? It's very difficult to see her. First of all, we know who the prize is, but if you're telling the world that he's the prize, then bitch, shoot. Okay. He the prize then. So when some shit go down and you sitting in that loser seat, then you cannot come back and cry. You can't complain. You can't ask for women to stand by you, right? Because you told the whole world, yes, he's the prize. So then if he does you dirty, what do you have to complain about? You chose him. That's a clear, obvious choose. If you chasing, you propose, and then let's say this man cheats on her, then everything she got, she genuinely signed up for. Like, that is a real thing. Like, at that point, you signed up for whatever this man brings you because you did all of the man's work. So if he decides he wants to start going upside your head, well, it sucks. But that's what you proposed to. That's what you stepped out of pocket as a woman and proposed to. That's some masculine shit. I'm just saying. So that's all I got to say on the matter, y'all. With that being said, I'm out. Peace.